got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
So now that we've made, I wouldn't use the word claims, but we've presented information that is pretty far outside of how most people see our world and how most people see or understand even what a Taurus is, okay? And how influential a Taurus has effect it has on our world, right? And on us and everything. But now we've got to look further and see if we can find further corroborating evidence that hasn't been looked at before that will show that what we're talking about is the truth. Before we do that, I want to show you, and I'm going to read you a few verses and definitions for you to ponder as we move forward into additional imagery and so on, okay? So what we're looking at here is the Strong's definition, okay? Biblical Strong's definition of, or translation of, the word world, okay? W-O-R-L-D, world. What is the definition? Well, the root definition says a primitive root properly to flow, causatively to bring, especially with pump, bring forth, carry, lead forth. So within that definition, obviously we see the words to flow. In other words, to whirl. To whirl. You ever heard of Sufi whirling, where they spin in a circle and they move their hands up and down and stuff? And it is supposedly imagery of, it's a dance, and it's supposedly imagery of the movement of our world and the stars above, right? Okay, Sufi whirling. And the definition is saying to flow, causatively, to bring. Okay, all right. So now let's keep looking. Okay, I'm gonna read you some somewhat random. What I did was I just ran a search for the word whirl in the Bible, okay, the Old Testament and New, and this is what we got. We have, it says, the Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. So what it is saying is that the Lord hath his way in the whirlwind. And then it makes reference to his feet sitting on top of it, like a footstool, that kind of thing. And it mentions the storm, and which a whirlwind is a storm. It's a Taurus. It's a spinning Taurus. That's what a whirlwind is. Any situation you go and look at whirlwind, it's going to have something to do with a storm, which is a Taurus. Not considering how strong of a Taurus or how big it is, like a hurricane or something smaller that maybe produces a tornado, or even just a supercell thunderstorm. That is also a Taurus field in action right around you, and is a point of creation. And I'll get into that more later. But let's keep reading. And Kings 2:1, and it came to pass when the Lord would take up Elijah into heaven by whirlwind, And Elijah went with Elisha from Gilgal. So the Lord would take Elijah, I want to pronounce that wrong for some reason, into heaven by whirlwind, meaning a Taurus. Okay, so he's bringing up the prophets in a whirlwind to take them above to heaven in this case. Kings 2:11, and it came to pass that they still went on and taught that, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And here we go again, I want to pronounce it wrong. Elijah, anyways, went up by whirlwind into heaven. Okay, there appeared chariots of fire. Chariots of fire are considered and spoken about in Scripture as a wheel within a wheel. Okay, and what that is, because I have seen it many, many, many times, they have come to me, and many of you have too. It is the angels in the heavens that they exist in and travel in a Torus. Yes, that is correct. Job 37:9, out of the south cometh the whirlwind, and cold out of the north. Job 38:1, then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said. So then the Lord now is answering Job out of the whirlwind. He exists in the whirlwind? Really? Okay. So the Lord answered Job out of the Taurus. Job 46. Then answered the Lord unto Job out of the whirlwind. Isn't that interesting? Ezekiel 1:4. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. So a whirlwind came out of the north. Okay, and you could go check out that verse and read the verses on either side to understand any of these more. But there's a point I'm making. Isaiah 66:15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and his chariots like a whirlwind. His chariots are whirlwinds. They are Tauruses. The word whirlwind is synonymous with the word Torus, and it also is synonymous with the word world. WHIRLED, the world, the one you live in. That's one of the main understandings and teachings of these videos. This whole setup of videos, that is the EyeRus world, is understanding what a Torus is and understanding what they are used for. They're used throughout nature in everything. Everything grows based on these rules, okay, of the Taurus, of God. Jeremiah 4:13, and behold, he shall come up as clouds, and his chariots shall be as whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles. Woe unto us, we are spoiled. Okay, I have seen the chariots come up, and they are like a whirlwind. They can sit still, or they can also move swifter than eagles. They can shoot across the sky, just like what they want you to believe is a meteorite, or they want you to believe is any of these things that they claim are coming from outside of our world, and claiming that this rock came from a whole nother. Yeah, right. And this one came in and it blew up over Russia. Yeah, right. These entities, angels, and so on, within these whirlwinds, within these Taurus fields that they come down, some people call them orbs. They're round all about and bright white, except for if you get to look at one for a while, you'll start to see other colors like ambers and purples, like a heliotrope purple, and colors like that, exactly like we're seeing in the words here. Jeremiah 23:19, behold, a whirlwind of the Lord is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. It shall fall grievously upon the head of the wicked. Behold, a whirlwind of the Lord, a Taurus of the Lord is gone forth in fury, even a grievous whirlwind. Now, typically the largest whirlwinds we see, that we can see, are hurricanes. But that's only because we can't see our world and how it exists inside of you might say an invisible, but I don't know that it's completely invisible, because we have the northern lights that come from the north, and that makes it visible. We also have the image of the full sun halo, where we get to see the outer ring of the firmament, which is the Torus field that's holding all this together. Thus said the Lord of hosts, Jeremiah 25:32, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coasts of the earth. From the coasts of the earth. That means the edge of the earth. Yeah. Jeremiah 30:23, behold, the whirlwind of the Lord goeth forth with fury, a continuing whirlwind, a Taurus. It shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. Okay, so now let's look at translation. I believe this is whirlwind, and translation out of Strong's, and it says, translation, a hurricane, a storm, tempest, whirlwind. See? This is not me, how would you say, taking leaps of faith in what these things mean. These are the definitions of what they mean. Here's another verse. Y'all guys probably can't read this one, but I'll read it to you. It's too small. Actually, 2 verses, and I can't remember positively which book this was out of, but I'm sure one of you will. The appearance of the wheels and their work. Talking about the wheel inside of a wheel with Taurus. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of beryl, and they four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel a wheel in the middle of a wheel. That is a Taurus. The next verse says, when they went upon their 4 sides, and they turned not when they went. What it means is they can move in any direction at any moment, at any time they want, and they don't need to turn to go, is what that means. Because, again, I have seen it with my own eyes many times. And of course that matches up as well with the imagery that we've taken a look at before, how angels are shown. They're shown in bubbles of light flying in the sky. And we have a lot of corroborating artwork that matches up with that we have looked at, as well as with Egyptian antiquity. Remember? Did you know that you had weather charts on your fingertips? Yeah, you know how they show the weather charts, especially some years ago when they would show all the lines and everything. They would show the Tauruses moving across the ground, and they would say, well, this is a low pressure, and it's about to become a hurricane and move up the East Coast. And these are also low pressures as well, which are Tauruses, storms, okay? And these have not fully developed into complete full-on Tauruses like this one has, which is going to be a major storm on Thursday, right? So you have the pattern of the Taurus on your fingers. It's right there in front of your face, but you have to stop in order to be able to see these things. And here we have the ultimate world cruise. You see? It says, all four corners, one epic voyage. All four corners, one epic voyage. You say corners, I thought we were talking about Tauruses. As I've talked about it previously, inside of a Taurus, inside of the eye of the Taurus, you have a three-dimensional rotating cube that exists that can be seen on the top of a hurricane when it's rotating, especially when it gets a real strong Taurus hurricane. You can see that. But this is the ultimate world cruise. All four corners, one epic voyage. And here's what's interesting, is one is they made world a different font, and it's not capitalized. And let's look at the places where the ultimate world cruise goes to all four corners on an epic voyage. Okay. Well, one, we have what looks like a Mayan temple. Why is that? It's because of the energy field that a temple like this creates around it is a Taurus field. Okay. Now, where else did they go? Oh, they're taking you to the other Taurus generating fields. Now you say, well, what are you talking about? You're talking about a pyramid. Well, if you take two pyramids and put them together, you basically have a 3 to 4 dimensional Taurus, cube rotating inside of a Taurus. Okay. That's the actual address if you want to go look at this. But we have, once again, some more pyramids. And what do we have here? Oh, we got a bunch of Tauruses. This one is got this large, what looks like a beehive on top. What shape is a beehive in? It's a Taurus field. What are all these pillars down here? All these pillars are symbolism for Tauruses. Each one of these pillars will have the Taurus image at the top, rolling like eyes on both sides, and at the bottom. And the whole thing is in a circle in the shape of a Taurus. It's a Taurus on top, with a Taurus on the bottom, surrounded by Tauruses. 3 to the east, 3 to the west, 3 to the north. Sound familiar? And how much is 3, 3, 3, and 3? That's 12. That's like 12 hours in a day. Huh. Wonder where they got that idea at. Okay, let's see where we're at now. Oh, look. We're like the Taj Mahal or something other. And look, more Tauruses. Tauruses, 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 Taurus. Huh. And water. Yeah. And then all the trees are also in the image of Tauruses. The growing part, the upper green part of the tree is the upper part, the Taurus on top. The root system down below is the Taurus down below. And you certainly got other Tauruses you could count within the tree trunk itself and the limbs and all that. Because if you look at the tree trunk, you cut a piece of wood, what you got? A bunch of circles. like a Taurus. Let's see where else the cruise goes. Oh, it goes to look at some more Tauruses. See all the looks like a Taurus is on top, Taurus is in the bottom. All these pillars are images of Tauruses, except for you might say they're somewhat elongated, but you have, it is what it is. You can look it up, do any research you want, and you'll find out that's what they were doing. Oh look, got another Taurus. Big round with different levels of circles. And then right in the middle of down here is the eye of the storm. Just more Tauruses. It's amazing. And then they come here. And this is on top of a mountain where energy flows greatly, which is one of the reasons why the angels and the deities will show up on top of the mountains. And also at the water's edge because of the amount of energy flow. Now let's turn the page and look at something a little bit different again, but directly related. This is the Stanford Torus space settlement that they have envisioned and are planning on building, because like I've said, everything they're doing is mirroring nature, mirroring God. But then once they know the truth, once they know how it works, then they have to choose to use it for evil or for good. It's up to you even now that you're learning these secrets. You'll have to make those choices, which I'm sure many or most or all of you will make the right choice and use the knowledge in the right way. But how are these guys using it? So they're claiming, and this is a fantasy, but they're claiming they're going to put a Taurus inside of a Taurus in space. Yeah, the Stanford Torus was the principal design considered by the 1975 NASA summer study. Yeah. And here's another look at it. So see, just like with all the different things they're up to, like with CERN, it's all about the Taurus. Like with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, it's all about the Taurus. All the technologies, you've got these Tauruses inside and outside your house right now. We all use them. Their technologies, a lot of it is credited to people like Tesla. And that may or may not be the case. But Tesla, if anything, all he did was rediscover what was already had been discovered previously by many eons of people from the past that had understood how this worked, like the Egyptians, for one. Here's the inside of their Taurus world, you might say. And notice how it's not a ball. They're building a Taurus, but it's not a ball. They're building a world, but it's not a ball. Imagine that. You can see all the 8-sided Tauruses inside of here as well, like right there, over here. See, they repeat the same thing over and over because once you observe nature and how it works, you can then apply that in your life, especially in technology, but not just in technology. You can apply it in the design of your garden. You can apply it in the design of anything you create, and you can choose to do good with it, and that's okay. But you certainly do not want to use it for evil, obviously. So, and what is this? This is another fantasy image, but it is of, well, it actually kind of looks like this image, doesn't it? You see? You see, this is from an image from the True Man Show, right? And you can see, what have you got right here? You see this? See his table? See how it's designed? With a bubble sitting on top? Yeah. Sitting on a plane. You know, like a planette, a planet, a plane. Sitting on a plane. Covered by a bubble. And then if you look at the image as one whole image, then you got this other bubble here with lines going out from it. Or you could look at it separately, but basically it's showing you the same thing here again, and that is creation. Who did that? What role did this guy play in the Truman Show? He played God. And in this image, where is God sitting? Well, he's inside of a Taurus, for one thing, just like the Bible says, inside of a whirlwind, right? And then he has earth as his footstool. You see? And you've got what looks to be multiple Tauruses here being held up by other Tauruses. It's just perfect. It's just perfect. Okay. This is an image from the Hunger Games, and this is the image of their playground. Okay? And as you can see, it is a flat plane with an upper raised edge with a dome over it. You see? And then surrounded by concentric circles. These guys are the stars that you see in the heaven. That's what they are symbolism for, the angels. They're the angels, aka the stars, the Tauruses that you see spinning away in the heavens. And of course, you had the God figure as well in this, standing over the Taurus. And look, this Taurus even has a pupil, the eye of the storm, right here in the center. See it? Just like your eye. You starting to understand why I call it the EyeRus world? I think you are. Okay, now let's look at a competition that was held. And I didn't find this until I'd done most of the research. And I ran into this. And I'm going to show it to you. But I think before I do that, I want to show you one other thing real quick. Okay, this is a couple of images coming out of CERN. And this is them creating the plasma torus, words that we're given to work with, okay, inside of a chamber, okay. This was 98, 99, okay, that time frame. And then the more modern version looks like this, and of course you can see that it's in the shape of an apple. You got your apple slices on this side, you got the center of the storm here, and the apple slices run all the way around. This is a cutout, obviously, okay, image of what they're building. Yep. And it wouldn't take very much to see what this is if you started looking at it from other angles. See this dome up here on top of it? You're going to have this large plasma torus surrounded by 12 other smaller magnetic toruses above and below, with this torus in the middle. It's very similar to creation. Everything we've been looking at. I did say that the hurricane was probably the biggest version of the Taurus that we have around us that we can see. I might have spoke too quick. I think the sun here, in this case, the sun is darkened and the moon is not given its light. In case you haven't heard me decode that for you before, is an eclipse, just like what happened on the day that Christ was crucified. Yep. But what I'm wanting to work towards here is a little bit better understanding of the Taurus and creation and why it is the way it is. And also this image that we see here with whether or not this is an image of Christ, I don't know. I'm not going to say it is or it ain't, because I don't know. Every image, I didn't spend an hour or two on every image that I found. Anyways, he's sitting with a bubble around his head, which is a Taurus field, just like you have around yours. And then showing these other creatures inside of bubbles. And then he is sitting inside of the center point of two bubbles, kind of like you have here, the Vesca Pisces. He's sitting in there, in a glowing one that's gold and amber and certainly has purples. And then it's all that sits on top of a square. See all the same symbolism again? Yeah. Just a look at some different types of Tauruses that they say exist. Okay. This is close to, this is what I found, this is something I found very interesting. Of course, this is a full sun halo behind it here. Okay. See, I can move it over so you can see that. And of course, that is the Vesca Pisces, the eye. A lot of the reason why I'm calling this the EyeRus world. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Now, most of us have heard of sacred geometry, which is where the Vesca Pisces comes from. And even the circle, and the pyramid, and the octagons, and all these things, right? And you see all the different shapes that exist, that they say exist. And you can see it in nature. You can go out. You see, I wouldn't bring this information to you if I couldn't see that this was true in nature. Okay, just like with the Tauruses, I can see it. I've seen the angels over and over many times, right in front of me, 30, 40, 50 feet in front of me, 100 feet. And on occasion, they were further away, especially when I was in New Mexico on top of the mountains down there looking at them, when they would come every night. But let's take a look at this. Day 1, day 2, day 3 through 7, because we've got 7 circles. And they call it the 7 days of creation. Okay? And it's very interesting because you can line up the verses of Genesis to this pattern. Okay? Here's day 3. Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together in one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. And of course it goes on. Here's day 4. Day 5. And you can pause this and read what the scripture says, but most of you know this, so I'm not going to read all of this. I'll let you do that if you need to. Okay? So we've got all that, day 6, and then day 7. You say, this is all great, this is all good, but why are you showing me this, and how is this exactly tied? Of course, this is easy to see how it's tied to the Taurus, but how is it tied to the world and our reality that we exist in? Well, I am glad you asked that, because I'm going to show you now. I'm going to go back to what I started to show you a while ago. Okay, so we have, there was a contest a few years back. And it was held by one of the departments of the elites, okay? And they had what they wanted to do was they wanted to come up with a flag for the earth. and they allowed people to submit, supposedly, submit images that would be considered for the Earth flag. We have a flag for the United States, we have a flag for this, we have a flag for that. But there was no Earth flag. Well, what's the Earth flag going to be? Well, let's look at some of the examples, and then I'll show you what the winner of the contest was, which I think you will find very interesting. This is one of the entries here, which, you can see that we're looking at a sun, a star, a Taurus, okay? So the Earth flag is going to be a Taurus. Instead of having a picture of what they claim the globe is, it's a Taurus. Okay. Well, that's what they're saying, right? Okay, let's look at another entry into the contest. Let's see. Let me go back here for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And on the inside there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 16 and 8. Don't quite get that one as well. Okay, let's look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Obviously, that's 12. So we have 12 hours in a day, or 12 hours on the clock. 24 hours in a day. And you can consider each one of these from here to here is high noon, and back down is midnight. High noon, midnight. High noon, midnight. But here we go, showing a star again. Although they did put a little circle in here. And some kaleidoscope imagery of a cube. But here we are basically with another star. And we're trying to do a Earth flag design. Right? But we're getting Tauruses and stars, which is the same thing. Okay, here's another one. Well, look, we got an eye with the eye of the center of the storm. We have another Taurus, basically. Imagine that, and a waveform. Yeah. Interesting. This is supposed to be the Earth, a flag that represents the Earth. Okay. Here's another one. Actually, two. One was to put this Taurus, because this is a Taurus, the image of a Taurus. It is very much accepted to be a vase like this, Another image of a Taurus with an eye on it. And then here we have this one with a circle that has 4 corners. And it has the sun, a Taurus, inside of it with the sea and 3 pyramids. This is the flag for the Earth. Okay. We're getting close to seeing the flag that they came up with. But let's keep going here for a second. We got 1 or 2 more. Here's another entry. The yin-yang look, or the flow of a Taurus. And, yeah. That's interesting. Why are all the proposals for a flag for the Earth in these shapes that are showing stars, and just not something that says what NASA tells us is Earth anyways? But then NASA, just like all liars, they do tell truth sometimes. Yep. Okay, let's see here. Oh. This is the winner. What? You mean the winner is the 7 days of creation circle and represents, by anyone with any knowledge of Tauruses, this is a Taurus? When I found this and realized that this was the flag, earth flag, that they were using as the flag for the earth, I had already found over 400 of the slides and had done 80% of the work on this video, and then found this. So much confirming my research is correct. Because like I said, even liars, the astronauts, even liars tell the truth on occasion. Yeah. And this is just incredible. Because this is, do you remember the image I showed you in the previous video that was at the temple, the design images of the temple and of the tabernacle had a Taurus on top of a Taurus supported by 3 Tauruses on each side for a total of 12. Do you remember that image? I think we better take another look at it. Well, that didn't take long. Here it is. You see? You got the image of a Taurus on top here, this pail, okay? And sitting on the back of 3 Tauros, bulls, facing east, facing west, north and south, but they stand on a flower. Yep, they stand on a flower. See this? And the flower has 12 petals. And it's all written right in the Bible. It stood upon 12 oxen, or 12 bulls, Tauros. 3 looking toward the north, towards the west, looking to the south, and 3 looking to the east. And the sea was set above them upon them, and their hinder parts were inward. So you got the sea setting up here in a Taurus, with a Taurus down below, the flower of life. The flag we just looked at, that is the flag for the world. Can you see it yet? Can you see it yet? So now, when you see images like this, you see, the wheel within a wheel, multi-faced flying creation, and you see God sitting in the clouds, above the clouds, in a round bubble, you're going to be able to understand why this throne showing God has wheels on it and wheels in the front, wheels on all sides. You understand now that they are depicting a Taurus, and that God, and I say they, I'm referring to the collaboration of knowledge over time. Now, we were never taught this in school. We were never taught this anywhere, really. But through spending the last 10 years, actually 11 years now, observing everything and learning as fast as I possibly can, which most of what I've accomplished, a large portion of it goes to y'all guys. Y'all guys deserve a lot of credit because of what you've done to support me over the years. And so now you know. Lastly, just to mention it in this video, although this part of this recording won't end up in the big video, and I'll probably cut this part out, I just want to give you an update on something. That is that unfortunately I'm having to move again. As some of you remember, I went through having to move last year, a year ago, and I got this place on a 12-month lease, and now this owner is selling as well, apparently. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't find, there's like basically nothing available. And the stuff that is available is sky high, like $1,400 to $2,000 a month. And on top of that, just not being able to find things is putting me in a interesting spot. I don't necessarily want to look at it all as being a negative thing, but I can say that I just don't know what I'm going to do. This may cause it's going to definitely cause some hiccups of me being able to finish the last, either the last or the last two parts of this series of videos. It's all tied to our world and creation. Because I don't know where I'm going to be living in about 4 days. I have 4 days to be out of here. And I just can't afford to go out and commit to those kinds of numbers. I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I'm going to be okay. I'm not telling y'all guys this to worry. Y'all guys are my people, I don't have people around me that really like to talk about the things that we like to talk about, and so y'all guys are my people, so I'm just letting you know what's going on with me. We'll see, but I know one thing: I've always made it through somehow, and I am very sure that I will continue to be able to do that, some way, somehow. I love you guys. This is going to be the end of this video for today. This is going to be part 3 or part 4? Part 3. I think this is part 3. I'm going to be moving over the next week. I don't know moving where. I may... Anyways, we'll see. And I'll keep you updated. I love you. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.